These homes look perfect, don't they? What if I were to tell you there's more than meets the eye? Today we're going to dive deep into the world of real estate ads and challenge how misleading they are. I'm going to show you the things that you absolutely need to avoid when you are looking for a home, or maybe one day down the road when you're looking for a home. First things first, we're going to talk about home builders and the way that they market incentives. A lot of times clients will just start looking online on their own and they'll send me some pretty insane things that people are trying to pull. So here, for example, is a home by the builder Shay. And we can see here, it says the price includes $60,000 of total incentives. And you might think, wow, they're giving me $60K of incentives. How nice of them. Now, of course, you might see as you're browsing other websites, like here's just a random one I pulled up, Toll Brothers, and it says here, 5.49 interest rate, 30-year fixed rate, 5.5 APR. You click it and it tells you you need to basically select houses. So this part isn't very misleading. Basically, the way these new builders work is if you buy any of their inventory homes, meaning houses that are being built in the next month or 2 months, they want to get rid of those. And they're incentivizing people by basically they put a ton of money into buying down these rates at the beginning of the quarter. And they have a bunch of funds that they use to basically use these bought down rates. Now, where they really mislead you is you'll go there and they'll say, yeah, we're going to give you up to $30,000, $40,000 of incentives like that Shay was trying to pull. And you're going to think, wow, like, thank you so much. Like, what did I do to deserve this? Well, really, in theory, it's costing them $20,000, $30,000 to buy down that rate, but they're not like generously doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're just doing that because they're trying to push inventory. Yes, I'm sure they did spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to buy that rate down, or in theory, if you were to like basically duplicate that with a resale, it would cost you 20 to 30K, but at the end of the day, they're trying to push this inventory for a reason. They can't have it stay on there. You're doing them a favor by buying this pre-existing inventory. So don't fall for this. Like, here's what you need to do. When you go talk to a new builder, what is the rate buy down going to look like? What are you paying for my closing costs? Like, how much of my closing costs are you covering? That's it. I want you to explain that to me. Don't put it in fancy words about how you're spending up to 20 to 40K. No, I'm not care about that. And if there is room to negotiate, which by the way there is, you can always just say, hey, can you ask your manager if we can do X? They might say, hey, we can maybe give you another 5K in concessions. My biggest suggestion is try to get it off the price, just because you're probably already buying an inflated house with a new builder. So you might as well just try to squeeze a little extra money off the price to kind of help you out. And a lot of times they won't go for that. So what you have to do is you have to get them to agree to, like, for example, there's a builder we saw today that they're willing to give us 4K in concessions. I was like, well, can you do 10K? Just pushing it out there. And they're like, yeah, we maybe can do that. And I was telling my buyer, now that they've agreed to that, let's just say, okay, since you're willing to give us 10K in concessions, let's just get 10K off the price. Same thing, right? Now, if I would have just pushed for that extra 6K off the price, they probably wouldn't have gone for that. So just little tips of the trade for you. Now, the next one you might find as you're like browsing Zillow or something, you'll see, like, this is one that I actually personally saw myself recently with a client. It said here, seller open to a negotiable buy down concession. And when we were walking the place, he was like, yeah, we're willing to give you, with a good solid offer, we're willing to give X amount of concessions for you. Here's another one I saw that we actually, funny story is it's already closed. So I'll just show you the closed listing here. But when we went to go see it, it said seller to give buyer a $4,000 credit at close with a full price offer. And my client even saw that and they were like, oh my gosh, we had to really submit a great offer. Like we have to do this full price offer to get this concessions amount, right? Listen, in a way, this is very misleading because this isn't like we're selling like something at Walmart or Target where the prices are dictated by other things and you can't go and barter with them, right? Everything in real estate is a negotiation, and them just giving like some kind of pre-existing rule like, oh, in order for you to get this, you must do this, is completely baloney. If you ever see this from a seller, here's what should pop up in your head. I have leverage. They're a little desperate. So don't go and just say, oh, well, they're only going to give us 4K in concessions with a full price offer. Baloney. If you see the situation, strike even harder. If there's any proof in the pudding, this house that I'm showing you, it was listed at $485. Looking at the sold numbers here, it sold for $465. and it gave $10,000 of concessions. What happened to this only giving a $4,000 credit with full price offer? See what I'm saying? So it's complete craziness. Do not let an agent's weak attempt to try to force an offer dissuade you from hitting aggressively. Okay, buyers are in a situation where they are kind of aware that they're buying in an overpriced market, and they know that there's going to be a roller coaster ride coming soon. They're hoping for the best, but if they're buying right now, they have their own personal reasons. If you're doing this right now, really try to save as much. If you're buying a new build, try to get a really low interest rate. If you're buying a resale, really make sure you're going off the list price, below list price as much as possible. Try to get as much incentive as possible, concessions, but really off the price is what the goal should be. But any pre-existing like starting bid or whatever, ignore that. That's just what the seller wants you to do. Hit them hard. The next one is probably the funniest misleading advertising. It really impacts everybody. It's an epidemic, if you will. MLS photos and how misleading they are. Okay, so you might be on Zillow and you might find yourself a really nice house like this. Wow, looks like a beautiful house, right? This poster on Reddit actually posted the real photo, and it looks like there's a driveway here. So this completely was photoshopped. They made the grass way greener. They completely like misled whoever was listing this, whoever ended up buying this house, hopefully. Like, this is kind of crazy that they did this. If you look at this here, they put like shrubbery and stuff in front of the garage. Like, I know that should already been screaming red flags. This is actually pretty crazy. I'm just kind of going through the subreddit now, and like you can buy a 21,000 square feet rural compound, natural lighting. Holy crap. Anyways, let's get back on subject. Here's another example on Reddit. You're gonna find houses that are completely done up. They put virtual staging, they make it very bright, and then you'll find it like this. Now, this is obviously a very extreme example. You go to any real estate photographer website, like literally look it up, like your city real estate photography, and you'll see different packages, and the packages include making the grass greener, making certain things look much more appealing, making the skies bluer, all kinds of things, okay? And the more important thing that you have to really understand is they use a wide angle lens. So like right now, you probably think I look a little thicker, but it's a wide angle lens. I'm really a really skinny babe. So a wide angle lens really does affect things, but for real estate specifically, it'll really stretch out a room. Here's an example someone put where like it's just a very basic small room, but the wide angle lens makes it look like such a massive room, right? Like, oh my gosh, this is so great. It's terrible. There's so many examples of this, and literally all you gotta do is look up Zillow, and the odds are that listings that catch your eye the best have some kind of manipulation on them. And I kind of mentioned the virtual staging, but the virtual staging is a huge issue as well. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but almost every house that is just vacant and plain is gonna have some kind of virtual staging, which I guess I get the idea, like makes it look better. But when they virtually stage cracks off the wall and they virtually stage a remodeled kitchen when the kitchen is not remodeled, it can be pretty damning. Now, the best advice I have for you is allow yourself to fall into the catfishing the first time. Like the first time you go look at houses, fall for it. Like just allow yourself to make the mistake of falling for it. Like pick a really nice one. Go look at it in person and go get shocked, right? Get that visual like shock of like seeing things in person versus the photos, so you can start really developing an eye for it. And then what happens is next time you go looking online specifically, you know what to catch, you know what to look out for. Hey, why is this picture right in the corner and it's very stretched out? There's probably something going on here. The second advice I have for you is, as you get better catching these little tricks, just focus on the details of the house. What's the square footage? What's the lot square foot? How many bedrooms does it have, etc. So for example, if it's a 5-bedroom house and it has 1,500 square feet and the pictures look nice and big and wide, I hate to tell you, but the house will be tiny. If it's a 1,500 square feet and a 5-bedroom, you're gonna have tiny rooms, you're gonna have very squished living areas, and you can just make that assumption just by simply looking at the details. I would love if you guys can send me any other, not just specifically these examples, but if you have any other kind of misleading real estate advertisements that you guys need help kind of calling out, or just kind of understanding what's going on, send me an email at contact@javiervidana.com. I can make more of these videos if you guys end up liking them. It's a little, I like these. These are a little more fun. They're a little more free compared to my other 20-30 minute masterpieces I've been making recently. So thank you guys so much for watching. Here's the video that YouTube thinks you should watch next, so go check it out.